It's now 10 o'clock in the morning, and as you can see, everything looks spick and span. Amazing to see Williams F1 cars from different generations, or amazing to see F1 cars in general from different generations alongside one another. Here with the 08 in the foreground and the 2012 FW33 at the back, you can just see the difference in size and length of a modern car compared with that of 1982. Good atmosphere here over there. A lot of the boys that we saw recently at the FW14B test with Valtteri Bottas in the background. There's Colin Watts on the rear wing there talking to Chris Dietrich, and both of them vintage circa early 90s. I think enjoying racing at a slightly more leisurely pace. I say racing, Formula One at a slightly more leisurely pace. The atmosphere though is of an early morning at a racetrack with something about to happen, and we don't quite know what. And that's always a lot of fun. There's a lot of crackle to it, a lot of energy to it. And this is, I suspect, the Williams garage that was used for the British Grand Prix as well at Silverstone. A beautiful day here, absolutely gorgeous. It was pelting with rain earlier this morning, and I speak as somebody who was up at 3:45. Not necessarily for this, I have to say, but as you can see, a beautiful day here at the Silverstone wing. Just before somebody starts an engine again, interesting to have a look at the back of the cars. I think there's the cover up actually over the back of the 33, but it's basically the same gearbox currently used on the 34, and you can just see how neat and tidy the back of the car is. And then we walk over to the FW18-96 car, the Damon Hill Championship winning car. Colin Watts will just move to the left. Thank you, Colin. G'day, mate. All right?
All right, yeah, good.
And you can just see, it was a lot bigger. Okay, it's a lot shorter in wheelbase, no doubt, but it's the Damon car. And then have a look at the trusty 08 with the lovely Hewland gearbox. Cosworth DFE, there's Susie just walking to the front. She's got an exciting day ahead of her. Going to be driving an F1 car for the first time. This 08 is going to be driven by Bruno Senna, and it's on cut Avons, which I guess we call them intermediates. They're not wet, that's for sure. And the track at the moment is still damp, but the boys are currently out just doing the first of a few hot laps in the very nice Renault Megane turbos they have here, just to clear up a bit of the water really from the track. Pastor, the brakes are smelling.
Yeah.
And the clutch.
Yeah, pushing.
There at the front of the 18 we see Dominic Harlow, who's basically the engineer for the day. Dominic, ex-Sahara Force India, joined Williams earlier this year. Don't believe was in Korea and Japan, but here he is, looking a little bit travel worn. We'll go and chat to him a bit later. Engineering these three cars from three different generations. Interesting also to see Williams, the MRTC guys, the radio guys at Williams. This year Williams switched to Rydal. Like a lot of the teams, they have a very sophisticated repeater unit around the circuit, radio systems riding on the back of the FOM system. But good old MRTC still doing a very good job using the fundamentals well with some of the F1 teams. And here, because these cars are all MRTC radioed cars, it's an MRTC day, just a small detail which will please the boys at MRTC because they're just up the road and they've been with Williams for a long, long time.
Just asking me the volume.
Great to see Colin Watts there again, our man who we've seen, well, we've seen it many days now from Williams running cars from this era. Bruno Senna looking quite tall, sticking quite high in the cockpit This car, Keke Rosberg's car, much shorter than Bruno, so no surprise to see him sitting quite high there. Presumably it's Keke's sort of height.
It's actually pretty impressive because the engine has power from the bottom end, and you think that you're squeezing the power and you get more acceleration, and then you think, oh, maybe that's it, and then you squeeze the throttle a little bit more and you have a bit more, and it's just an amazing experience. Of course, my first run was in the pretty wet conditions here, so I didn't want to do any damage, but lap after lap you get more confident and you start changing the gears a bit faster and you start downshifting a bit harder, and you know, I think after a few laps today I could have you know, put some good lap times in. No, it's impressive when you start putting the speed on. The car is really planted considering how low grip it is on the low speed, so I think in the dry it could be quite an amazing experience on this track, and I bet Stowe would be a pretty aggressive corner. Front tires probably won't like it very much because of the lack of the front wing, but yeah, it's quite special.
That car was known for its very forward driving position. Do you feel that, or do you get used to that very quickly?
Well, it's difficult to get used to it on the first few laps because the rear is so far back that when it moves, your steering correction comes in a little bit, how can I say, a bit late. It feels like it's late because if you think that you move this much, you're gonna get the correction, but no, as soon as you move this much, you move too much. So you have to like adjust all the steering corrections, all the driving style to the position that you're driving, and it's yeah, it's quite interesting.
The engine is a V10, but at the same time it's very flat on the electronical point of view. You know, very flat, very nice and smooth, easy to control the power in the car. And I was quite impressed with the front of the car, you know, and the technology Williams had at the years. You know, the gear was so quick at the time as well. So it's impressive. That car is impressive. The traction, you know, when the car is straight, the traction, the pull away from the corners is fantastic. It's amazing, you know. So I learned a lot from that, and yeah, it's a very special day, you know.